going, brother?
What up, man? How's it going?
Good, man.
Good.
Thanks for swinging by.
No worries. So, I feel like it's important for us to unpack our album together. These aren't the words you're looking for.
They're not.
What is that?
What the hell is it anyway?
When did it start?
Shit, man. It started, honestly, probably like a couple months after I released Dubonomics. So that was like fall of 2011.
Yeah, so
like almost exactly 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
And now we're just beginning to release them.
Now, yeah. The first three have come out. We got the fourth one coming out soon. But yeah, it's, I mean, it really started for me as just like playing around with sounds. Like, I did a few tracks right after Dubonomics came out, and neither of those really ever saw the light of day except for like a couple shows here and there. And but after that, it was just like I just started experimenting with, like, not even with the goal of making a song. Yeah. Like, I remember one of the first songs. I actually don't remember which song it turned into, but I remember going up to Maine to visit my mom. She was living up there at the time, and just like hanging out on her couch and playing around, being like, okay, what happens if I take two drum loops and put compressors on both of them, but set the side chain, like the external side chain, to the opposite drum loop?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, as someone who's into sound design, like, I think that this album definitely reflects your interest and passion for that too. Yeah. And
that's a lot of how it got started. And like, so I did that and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then like threw like a marimba loop or whatever behind it. And so there's just a lot of that. And like at the same time I was having these ideas, like song name ideas, which was the wordplay part of it.
Yeah.
You know? And so I just started like writing them down. I had a whole list of them, and sometimes if a loop that I came up with seemed like it made sense, I would assign them, and other times I just like figured it out later.
Talk about the title a little bit. Like, what's the title for you?
Yeah, so the title, These Aren't the Words You're Looking For, is, so like it started with like all these names, right? I'm thinking of names like Dragon Drop, right? Which could be like dragon,
like with fire
creature,
breathing. Yes.
Yeah, and like dropping things, or like drag and drop on a computer. And there's all like titles like that, where like, so there's this wordplay and like dual meaning. And then, so These Aren't the Words You're Looking For was like that's kind of what that felt like. It's like, they sound like the words you're looking for, but they're not. But then that's also like, if you're familiar with Star Wars, you know, Episode 4, these aren't the droids you're looking for.
Exactly.
And I love Star Wars. So.
Yeah, I think that title kind of brings like a heroic element, like as musicians and producers and lyricists were like kind of using the Force.
Yeah.
And I liked to keep that in mind when I came into the project to do vocals. I was like excited about
Definitely.
that.
So that's actually interesting, because like a lot of this was very behind the scenes to me, because so at one point, like, I had all these loops, I didn't know what to do with them really, and I kind of just gave them to you as like, hey dude, do you want these? And not even thinking I would be involved, just like almost like a handoff. So what was that?
Well, how long had you been working on the project up until that point? Like already 3 years?
That was probably 2 or 3 years in.
Yeah.
So it had just been like years of just making these little experiments and loops that I didn't really know what to do with.
Well, for me, and with the titles and everything, I feel like the titles and the theme of the album already gave me like a head start on what I wanted to write about, and kind of gave me like a healthy container to work within, where I know that I have to wrap double meaning. So like the song that we're dropping this Friday, Primates, it's like prime and then the number 8s, and then the whole song is about how we're not primates, because
8s ain't prime.
There's something quite alien about us anyway as humans, but then there's also the fact that 8s aren't a prime number, and then just kind of like figuring out how prime numbers play a role in our reality too. So that's just one of the songs, and then there's Rhapsody in Denial, which is rap and then city, like an urban environment, in denial, like in the Nile River. I feel like that's the most extreme wordplay of the whole album. And the whole Rhapsody aspect of it was cool when I was on the phone with Mr. Liff, like discussing the content of the song. I think that that's kind of what we went off of, like we are living in a time of rhapsody, and like we're in a city as like agents passing off data to each other and trying not to be seen. And
well, so that's actually like the backstory behind that is kind of cool too, right? So like I basically made this song that was like a jazz quartet. Like no beat really. It was like it was a jazz track in Ableton, right? And I played trumpet and did piano and bass and like drum set stuff.
Yeah.
And then I gave that to you. And then you turned that into the beat for Rhapsody.
Yeah, it's like, you know, you created an original sample that I otherwise would have found and sampled from a record, but you had created it and added, like, even the vinyl feel was in there too. But that's cool as you know, me coming from the point of hip-hop producer, I love nothing more than to have an original sample that sounds like something that I sampled on vinyl.
Stella, let's take... Come here.
Stella.
Come here. Come here. Come on. Come. Good girl. This is Stella.
This is Stella.
Studio dog extraordinaire.
So yeah, I feel like being able to take these loops that you had created, you know, one, it takes the pressure off of not having to sample somebody else's work or
like get clearance.
You know, yeah, exactly. So that was super cool. But basically, I took what you did and
did you just treat it like basically like a
sample? Yeah, exactly, cool. And put drums and then you added the trumpet solos, which were exactly on the same like notes as the piano.
Yeah, dude, learning that piano solo and playing it on trumpet was it's not easy. I learned it was actually I learned something interesting about myself, which is that when I'm playing keyboards, I think musically very differently than when I'm playing trumpet.
Yeah,
because like it's coming from the same musical mind, right? That solo, but like playing that line on trumpet was
some things are easier to do.
Transcribing and practicing, slowing it down.
Yeah.
And then how did you hook up with Mr. Liff? Like, how did that connection actually get made?
Festival? Yeah, it was at a festival. I was performing at Bella Terra Music Festival in Stephentown, New York, and I think the day after I performed, I was still there, and I saw him performing with Otis Grove, a band called Otis Grove, and he was rapping, and he's like a lyrical hero for me, and his stuff that he's done, like so many albums. My favorite song by Liff is "I Am Myself." That's can be found on his Bandcamp. But anyway, I was feeling very inspired after seeing him play, and he seemed like somebody who I could go up and talk to. And so I talked to him, and he passed me his contact, and reached out to him, seeing if he wanted to be featured on our track. And he wanted to do it, liked it, and he called. We were on the phone just discussing the song topics, and we recorded remotely, but we discussed what we were going to write about, and it was very premeditated, and we each wrote 8-bar verses that we switch off on, and then the chorus, I guess, is your trumpet solos. But yeah, I mean, he's great. He's done a lot of work with Thievery and you know, tons of different artists, and I mean, it was like kind of an honor and humbling experience to collaborate with him. You know?
Personally, for me, I don't know if I had like told you this. Why don't you hop down? Go on, off. I don't know if I told you this like at the time that it happened, but like he was really the dude that got me into hip hop.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I really didn't listen to hip hop that much, and I went to a boarding school out near Boston, and like he came and did a show there, and like a bunch of friends were going, so I was like, all right, whatever, we'll go check it out. And I was just like, holy shit, like this is what this music can be, and it just totally opened my eyes. So like for him to really be the guy that kind of started me down that path of like exploring hip hop and all it had to offer, and then to get him on an album that I was working on via you was just like this unbelievable full circle moment of like, holy shit, I can't believe this actually is happening.
Yeah, those are the moments that I live for in music, when things kind of come full circle, and all of a sudden you're on the same track or in the same room with people who you kind of looked up to in the beginning, you know? Yeah. And still do look up to. So yeah, that was such a great experience for me with this album. I feel like we should talk about the art too, and having Ned Ivory on board.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, Ned is like kind of a local legend a little bit, right? Like,
yeah, in terms of like who I saw doing graffiti back in the day and painting murals and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just reached out. It was funny. I reached out to him. The first time I reached out to him about it was probably maybe 3 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
Like, that was a while ago, too. Of like, hey, dude, we're working on this album. Like, here's kind of the concept. I'd love to have, like, kind of graffiti-inspired artwork, right? Because, like, hip-hop, like,
it's like
5 elements. That's
it's
part
like
of it.
Comics and hip-hop have come very close to each other and been fused together, but this is, like, specifically Star Wars and hip-hop,
Yeah.
and I feel like Ned, as the visual artist on this, is, like, you know, perfect for that.
Yeah,
you can see that.
He can, and honestly, like, I had a few ideas kind of in my head when we started talking to him about it. And he has, like, completely exceeded them in every way.
Yeah.
And it's like, I could have tried to do something myself for, like, you know, whatever. We could have tried to do some artwork, but, like, getting someone like him on board.
Yeah.
With that vision who can just, like, translate, like, our rough ideas that we gave him into this reality.
Yeah,
it's been,
he
like,
did a good
very
job.
Cool. And that's still evolving, too. That's the other cool thing.
So as we drop... I feel like our release plan is so unique that it's like worth explaining. So like we're dropping one song at a time until December 15th, our release date. And as we drop each single, the artwork is evolving. So at first it's like black and white, but by the end it's going to be full color.
Full color, everything.
And I feel like letting people in on the process of the completion by releasing one song at a time with evolving art is cool, and I feel like it's worth unpacking and letting people know why.
Yeah, it's definitely it's unusual, I think.
Yeah,
it's kind of a neat insight into like how artwork like that gets developed. You know, it's like usually you just see the finished product of like, oh, here's this thing, but there's so many layers and so much development and like different steps that go into getting there. For me, it's interesting because I don't even usually see that part of it, you know?
Yeah, it's like a prolonged revealing of our project, and in the landscape of music right now, I'm in general kind of tossed up between whether I should drop singles and or drop an album, but I feel like this is both because we're dropping singles on SoundCloud and Bandcamp, and then by the time the full album's out, it's available everywhere.
Right.
So my hope is that doing something unusual and different and letting the listener be in on the whole process is going to be special, if nothing more.
Yeah. And yeah, man. So it's been a long road, and there are times where like nothing got done for months, it seemed like, but you know, we finally got it all mixed down, and like there are a couple tracks that I'm rapping on which would totally not have been
Stewart's
possible
MC debut
without you though. Like I remember I had like 2 lines written and I was like, all right, these are kind of cool, but I have no idea where to go. And I don't know if you remember that day you came over and we just like you kind of mentored me and got me going in the right direction, and
I love to provide
that was awesome,
that service.
So
especially with how much work you've done on the album in general, it's good to be collaborating on all levels.
It really I do feel like people talk about collaboration a lot. I feel like that's a very popular thing right now, but like I do feel like at the deepest sense, without any pretenses, like this was a truly collaborative experience and project from every angle all the way through.
Yeah, or at least when I hopped on board, you know. Yeah, totally. And I think that, you know, the time length, like I've never spent this long on a project and finishing a project and getting it mastered at Gateway and all that stuff. Super stoked about that. But also it's like in the past I've been very like, you know, assembly line, like this is done, gotta get it out. Like this might not be done, still gotta get it out. Like I've learned from those mistakes of wanting to kind of make an impact fast, as opposed to like constantly refining our work until we know that we're happy with it, at least on our end.
Totally.
And then getting it mastered by an awesome
Adam
Ion.
Yeah. Yeah, taking it up to when we finally
Yeah,
got
how was
all the
that?
mixes done, dude. It's unfortunate the timing worked out that you couldn't make it up, but it was unreal.
Yeah.
Just getting to take these songs that we've been working on for so long and bring them to like one of the top mastering houses in the world, and hearing it on this incredibly revealing system. Like I again, songs I've been working on for the better part of 5-6 years. I was hearing things in there that, like, it's the first time I've ever heard them. Mm-hmm. Which is incredible. You'd think I've listened to these songs hundreds of times.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm hearing stuff that's like, oh, wow, I never noticed that. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like, that's how that plays against this other element. So to put it in Adam's hands at the end there and let him really just kind of massage it into a whole cohesive album was... I'm so thankful to him that he, you know, made the time in his schedule and I could go up there and be part of it.
Yeah.
That was an amazing process too.
Yeah, it's awesome to have him involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Cool. Well, yeah, our next release is this Friday.
this Friday,
September 8th.
Primates.
Primates drops on 9/8.
Although 9's not prime either. Mate.
No, it's not. Yeah.
So
yeah, that'll be on SoundCloud and Bandcamp.
yep.
We already have 3 tracks out and streaming on SoundCloud, and you can pre-order the album on Bandcamp.
Yep. And you can get all 4 songs. So this Friday will be the 4th song. You can get all 4 of those downloaded right away.
and pre-order the album.
Pre-order the album and get, as soon as the next ones come out, you get those too.
Yeah, awesome.
And,
I'm super stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last track we dropped was Rapid, which features Brian Ross on the bass.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll drop all those links in this video here, I
Yeah.
assume. Yeah, I think this was a very productive conversation
Yeah.
here,
It's good to hang out, man.
including
Good old
animals.
Fizz.
Good old Fizz.
Fizz the
Yeah.
studio cat. We're
Cool.
only missing one. I don't know where she went.
Yeah.
Right on, man.
Everyone, thank you so much.
Thanks for the support, y'all.
This is Ian Stewart,
Jackson Whalan.
and we're working on dropping These Aren't the Words You're Looking For. Continuous release. Release date is December 15th, 2017.
Yeah. Later. All right, cat.